Much, Faisal, and compliments of the season to everybody who's here. Let me just say that this update is happening today because January the 4th was the milestone that was set in terms of the out-of-cycle review by the United States for us to conclude some of the work that was outstanding on the question of the three meats. Let me just go back and just refresh us about the processes and where we are at and what we've concluded and what is outstanding at this point in time. You will recall that AGOA is a non-reciprocal set of trade preferences that are offered to eligible AGOA countries in Africa. South Africa benefited from these. AGOA ran its course, the first AGOA 15-year course, in September last year. The new AGOA was made conditional for us on us agreeing to imports of certain meat products from the United States. They were the question of bovine spongiform encephalitis, and declaring that to be no longer applicable in terms of the beef from the United States. They included a series of diseases on pork where they wanted us also to declare that those pork products could enter South Africa. And then there was a question of chicken, and the question of chicken was bone-in portions. And the request initially was that we would remove the anti-dumping duty, which had been enforced since 2001. We then entered a negotiation with the local poultry industry very much actively involved, and we reached an agreement in June last year in Paris that there would be a quota of 65,000 tons rising each year of the growth factor. And that would be admitted into the South African market. Those are what are called bone-in portions. Those are legs and wings, and other back portions, they're sometimes called. That was the gist of the agreement. What was outstanding in terms of the agreement were really the administration of the quota. How was that going to be administered? And then the sanitary and phytosanitary matters, or if you want to put them more simply, matters of animal and human health. What has happened in the up to now is that we've made what both sides are acknowledging as considerable and discernible progress, including all through the holiday period when there were continued interactions on the outstanding issues. As we sit here now, what we've got in place is we have an avian influenza certificate already issued on our side. We have in place the rules for the administration of the tariff quota, at least in an interim arrangement. That was published in the Government Gazette on the 18th of December. We have, to a very large extent, and I think we can say for all practical purposes, concluded on the pork issue. On the beef, the issue that arose was the question of beef. Is it just for beef that is born and bred in the United States, or is it for beef that comes in from neighboring countries into the United States? And there seems to be, we have submitted a proposal. We are waiting to hear the answer to that beef that comes in from neighboring countries, which has been part of the United States herd for 90 days, that beef will qualify after a quarantine period of 90 days. That will qualify as though it was born and bred in the United States. The outstanding matter is the question of salmonella, and there have been a lot of interactions between our veterinary authorities on the question of salmonella, really the levels of tolerance for salmonella and the procedures for the detection or the procedures that would follow the detection of any salmonella. We were given an indicative date to conclude all of this on the 31st of December. Although our authorities on both sides had been interacting, and we have been interacting as well throughout this period, and that there was a meeting indeed on the 31st of December, they did not conclude. We are waiting a response on the proposal on the beef, and we are still engaged in further discussions. There have been various questions posed to the United States on the salmonella issue, for which we are waiting an answer and looking for an outcome on that. So as we sit now, we are recognizing that we are in extra time, that we are now past full time, if you like. We're in extra time, but the whistle hasn't, as of this moment, been blown, and we are hoping that the whistle will not be blown to give our veterinary authorities on both sides an opportunity to engage again. They have a meeting planned for the 6th, and the work will continue whether the whistle is blown or not, because the consequences of the whistle being blown would be that certain products that are currently enjoying access under AGOA, and those are the agricultural products, would be excluded. And we'd have to see the terms of that exclusion. So it would be a partial exclusion from AGOA benefits for a period of time. And if we still did not find a solution, then that would be ramped up, is our understanding. But we're also told that if there is a partial exclusion and we then do reach an agreement, there can be a very quick reversal of any orders which may be arising at that time. But as I said, we are not the ones that blow the whistle. We know we're in extra time. We are committed to continuing to work to find a solution that, from our point of view, would allow us to honor the commitment that we made in Paris on poultry, as well as the commitments which we've already made on beef and on pork. Allow us, in other words, to honor all the commitments that we made as part of the AGOA process around the 3 meats, and at the same time also to ensure that we do not pose unacceptable risks to our plant and human health in South Africa. That's what the issue's been all the way along, and it's to find that kind of a balance and to find that kind of win-win outcome, and that's what we as government are committed to continue to work for. So I think that's a summary of where we're at. There will be a written document which we will circulate before the end of this press conference, which is more or less along the same lines. But at this point, I'll invite my colleagues either to add anything, or we can open up for questions. But that is the conclusion of the introduction from myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Colleagues, without any waste of time, we'll take questions from Pretoria. Introduce yourself and the organization. Renee?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Minister. It's Renee Volgraaf from Bloomberg News. Minister, I just want, on a kind of technical issue, you mentioned some products might be excluded from this duty-free access we have to the US, and it's farming products. But is wine included in the broader farming products category? In other words, if we do get this exclusion, will our wine exports under AGOA to the US be affected by this? And you are saying we are in extra time. Is there a certain date this week by which, you know, our extra time will run out? I mean, is it Wednesday? Is it Thursday? When will the US say, well, you have now had enough time and we are cancelling your benefits? And then I also just want to make sure that you say that if we do lose this benefits temporarily, it can be reversed, or we can reapply. Can you maybe just tell us what the process would be if we do lose these benefits to reapply for it, or to make sure that our products can again get the duty-free access?
Okay. Back there.
I'm Morgan from SABC. Just 2 questions. If all of you ministers, well, my questions are directed to any of you. Please spell out exactly what agricultural products South Africa exports to the US duty-free currently under AGOA, and how much that trade is worth to us generally. And the second question is, can you give us a guarantee and an assurance that under no circumstances even as things stand now, will you as the government give in or allow the importation of US agricultural products which could make us sick? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ministers. Angelo Coppola from CCTV. Can you describe the situation with the motor manufacturing sector and whether that's going to impact your decision-making process?
Okay, colleague.
Gerard from Farmers Weekly. I just want to find out what part of citrus exports are affected or will be affected if they are excluded.
Okay, thank you. Minister?
All right, thanks. Let me just say that it would not be for us to prescribe exclusion notices or to give the list of products. So we'd have to see what the notice would say as to whether any particular product is in or out, whether wine counts as an agricultural product or not. But we have been told that, in general terms, that the first set of exclusions will be for agricultural products. And that's what we've been told. And that we've been told that if that happens, it can easily be reversed if we do reach an agreement subsequently. So that's what we've been told. And then on a date this week, as I said earlier, I was trying to use the analogy, we don't blow the whistle. So we haven't been told anything like that. I know that that is something that the other side will be considering. And as I said, we are hoping that we do have this breathing space for us to conclude and continue the work, but we'll continue the work whether the whistle is blown or not to try to find a solution. It's actually not an easy matter to say what is the value of AGOA, either particular products or as a whole, because there is what you'd have to do would be to look at the fact that we are still eligible for general system of preferences in the United States, and then in some cases you'd have MFN, most favored nation tariff, and you'd have to see whether the difference between the AGOA, the GSP, and the MFN was so great that it would stop the trade or not. And there are different assessments for different products, and I'm not going to be able to sit through here and tell you, but I can tell you in very, very broad terms that something like 25 billion rand of the 70 billion rand exports to the United States from South Africa go through in terms of AGOA. That's what it is. As I say, it's not necessarily the case that none of that would get through if we didn't have AGOA. Some of it might get through under GSP or even the MFN. But that is the figure up to now. And the trade TIPS, Trade and Industrial Policy Group, research group, they estimate that there are about 62,000 jobs in South Africa that are in industries that benefit from AGOA. That's the sort of ballpark figures that are around. Now, what agricultural products? Well, I think my colleague can give more, but the ones that I'm aware of are citrus. It's macadamia nuts, which is quite a labor-intensive sector. It's canned fruit. It's wine, if wine is counted as an agricultural product. It's a few other things like avocados, and there may be a few other more minor products. Those are the main agricultural products that benefit from AGOA. As I said, there may be a different answer, product by product. What would happen if that AGOA access was suspended? In some cases, it may mean no more exports. In some cases, it may mean, well, you'll have to pay more duty than before, but the trade would continue. That's something that we're not aware of in detail at this point. Then on the other side, there's the question of the motor industry. Well, at the moment, the BMW sedan for things like quality, on-time delivery, defects, and all of that. That model will continue to be exported to the United States, and it is their intention to continue to do so and use AGOA. I'm told that the loss of AGOA benefits there. The new X3 model, however, would not. The new X3 model also manufactured in the United States, so it would be targeting other models. Mercedes-Benz has not been using AGOA because they have a plant in the US in the last year or two, but they are planning to use AGOA for the C-Class Mercedes as well. So those, I think, are the two main auto sector issues that would arise. But actually, autos are not currently under threat. There's been no indication at this point in time, although in very general terms, that if after a period of time with agriculture, then there would be more added, if that would include everything or some, and whether autos would be part of it, we have no idea at this point in time. And then I haven't got the figures for the total of the citrus exports, but citrus is a diversifying sector.
To interact. Possibilities are that on salmonella we may be able to find. It is one outstanding issue that our ethical people are still engaging in.
Thank you very much. I'm answering the question from SABC about guaranteeing that we can give a guarantee that under no conditions will the government capitulate and expose the citizens to diseases. First of all, no government in the world deliberately or willfully exposes its diseases to any type of disease. Its citizens to any type of disease whatsoever. I've never come across any government anywhere in the world that willfully did that. Government always protect their citizens against diseases. That's what every government in the world practices. The second thing I want to mention is that the issues of trade and health have been and will always be a very, very delicate balance. It's not this or that, you know. It's a very, very delicate and complex balance at all material times. That situation is never going to change as far as I'm concerned. And the relationship between health and trade is not easy to understand because there can be no health. Trade sustains the economy. There can be no health without the economy, but there can be no economy without health. I'm sure you'll understand that. So for that reason, the use of the word capitulate is quite unfortunate. It's not a matter of capitulating. It's a matter of reaching that delicate balance in the interest of the country that needs a healthy nation, but the country that also needs a flourishing economy. Once we strike that balance, and that these negotiations is about that. So please, I don't appreciate the use of the word capitulate. I don't know what we'll be capitulating to, because both are the needs of our country. Trade is a need of our country. Health is a need of our country. So we will negotiate until we reach that delicate balance. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Afternoon, Ministers. This question just goes to any of you. Following sorry, Bongiwa Kumalo from ENC. Following the tweet that was sent by the U.S. Embassy on the fact that they're saying the stakes are high, they hope that government moves quickly to resolve the outstanding issues. And it has sparked some outrage from people saying that the U.S. seems to be bullying South Africa into making a decision. Does government, as you say that there's negotiations that are still continuing, do you feel that there is some bullying taking place here, or do you feel that this is still, going ahead as planned? Thank you.
Antoinette Slavert from MoneyWeb. Following on this question also about the tweets from the U.S. Embassy, they seem to implicate that South Africa is being a bit pedantic, that many other countries accept these standards, but we are a bit picky. Could you comment on that, please?
Another question?
Hi, good afternoon, Ministers. It's Kaya Kumalo here from Kaya FM News. Just to get a comment or two, I mean, since AGOA has been, an albatross between the U.S. and South Africa, do you see this in any way creating a diplomatic rupture? Thank you.
Are we done in Pretoria? Is it him? Okay. We can hear you, man. Speak loud.
It's not working.
It's not working.
Hi. Masindi Mampisana from Business Reports. What is the stance of the Department of Health on the health risks, and what are its concerns?
Kristen van Schie from AFP. Is there any circumstance under which the South African government would decide to let AGOA lapse?
Well, I think that it doesn't assist at this point in time for us to be engaging with comments that have come from different sources. As I said before, and as my colleagues reiterated, we're in a negotiation. We're in a negotiation where the U.S. Embassy has said to me that they agree with me that we have made discernible and significant progress over the holiday period on these difficult, outstanding issues that are ahead of us, and that our objective remains, as we said before, to continue to stay in AGOA for the benefit of the economy of this country, and by the way, for the benefit of the bilateral economic relationship between our two countries, and at the same time to do this in such a way that we do not subject either our animals or our people to any unacceptable risks. That's what it's about. And it's ultimately a call of our authorities that are charged with responsibility for matters of animal and plant health that have to make a call on the outstanding issues. That's where we're at. So I think that I would want to just summarize it in that sort of a way. AGOA has been an arrangement which has underpinned a growing, relatively balanced trade relationship between the United States and South Africa. Right through the years of the global economic crisis, unlike with other parts of the developed world, our trade continued to grow. It continued to be relatively balanced. And what AGOA did was to add to that our export basket to the United States was not totally dominated by primary products, as it is very often in our trade relations with other developed countries. So there's a proportion of value-added products that have gone through. The motor industry is an obvious example, but wine is another one. It's a value-added product. So that's what AGOA is underpinned. There's more than 600 United States companies that are invested in South Africa in one way and another. There's some pretty significant South African investments in the United States. For example, Sasol invested in Louisiana in gas to liquid plant there, which is in fact one of the largest investments that has taken place in the oil and gas industry in the United States. So I think that this is the background. We have a strong and robust commercial relationship with the United States, which has been underpinned by AGOA. And we think that is something that all of us will have to take account of as we move into this end game. So we want to preserve that, and we're looking to a solution that enables us to continue to be part of AGOA, while at the same time, as I said, ensuring that we do take due cognizance of the requirements of animal and plant health. And also the fact of the matter is we've got different systems in place on some of these matters, and some of the discussion has been about understanding how each other's systems work. So I can't explain that in detail. Maybe somebody else can. So that's what we're involved in at this point in time, and other hypothetical alternatives are not on the table at this moment. Thanks.
Yes. There are two questions I need to answer. Whether South Africa is pedantic and other countries are accepting this. The measures that are being applied, we understand them to be international. There are no double measures that are being applied, that South Africa seeks to apply to the United States, which do not apply to other parts of the world. The second question, what are the concerns of the Department of Health? Well, the concerns of the Department of Health are sanitary and phytosanitary measures, simply meaning whenever we undertake trade between ourselves and other countries, we must safeguard the safety of the citizens. And that's our main concern, to make sure that the citizens are safe, that trade does not have adverse health outcomes, because at any rate, if there are adverse health outcomes, they will simply reverse the very same trade benefits. It's as simple as that. And that's exactly what the Department of Health is here for.
Thanks. One question from Ms. Khumalo. I think that if there is a view that there's been bullying, that is not what we have got from our negotiators. There have been tough engagements, because these are technical issues that deals with phytosanitary issues, as to ensure that you balance between food security versus food safety. So that's why both parties are saying the much ground has been covered in dealing with all the issues. And even in the area that is being engaged on, there have been exchange of views as to how best to make sure that the safety to humans from salmonella is taken care of.
Let's go to Cape Town, colleagues. Cape Town, any question?
Yes, we've got three. Yes, Chair, we've got three questions. We'll start with Linda.
Ministers, good afternoon. Linda Ensor from Business Day. Just a few questions, if you don't mind. All these issues that have been raised, we've had so much time to sort them out. Surely, within the time period granted by the US administration, with sufficient get-go pushed by the minister and the experts, it could have been done. I mean, if it's just going to take a few days, surely extra pressure could have achieved the result in time. And then also, it's not clear at what level, what are the differences with regard to salmonella tolerance? Why is South Africa demanding such a high level of salmonella intolerance with regard to the US? I mean, why can't we bring our standards down? And yes, I think that's it. Thank you.
Mike?
Marina Lamprecht from Media 24. Minister Davies, you talk about negotiations and the whistle not blown yet. Did the US government give any indication as to when the final whistle will blow?
Okay, last one is Mike.
Mike Cohen from Bloomberg News. Minister, throughout this process, every time we speak to the South African officials, you seem to say that you're confident of all these issues being resolved, that in the final stages. Every time we speak to the American officials, there seems to be a degree of frustration saying that agreed to timelines and agreed to actions were not adhered to. Could you perhaps give your view as to who is responsible for the ongoing differences of opinion over how these matters should be addressed? Thanks.
That's it from Cape Town.
Thank you, Minister.
All right. Well, let me start off by saying that a lot of the discussion, initial discussion on the SPS matters, was around the avian influenza, and the salmonella issue arose relatively late in the process. So that is just a factual analysis of that. So the avian flu was dealt with in very good time, and the other one is the one which has cropped up later. Let me just say that we have been pushing to conclude. We've been pushing a lot to conclude on these processes. But as somebody who's been around the game for quite a while in trade negotiations, I don't know of too many that have concluded well ahead of the deadline. In fact, more like the norm is that they go into extra time. There's a phrase in the WTO, they call it stop the clock, so that the closing ceremony in Nairobi of the WTO was a full 24 hours before it actually concluded, because the negotiations hadn't concluded. It was postponed for a day. I don't know of too many trade negotiations or trade-related negotiations that actually are not like that. Many of them are like that. You can talk about when was the deadline for the conclusion of the Trans-Pacific Partnership? What was the expected end date of the Trade and Investment Partnership Agreement across the Atlantic? I think you can see many trade negotiations are like this. So I think that the officials actually, I do need to give them credit. We were asking people to come to work on days when everybody else was on leave, and they did it. Nobody balked away from it. Our interlocutors have sometimes asked for time to consult on some proposals, so we haven't been able to conclude for that reason. So I think that actually on issues that are complex, as I said earlier, and maybe one of my colleagues wants to go a little bit more in detail, but there are different systems in place between us and the US on something like salmonella. So it's not just a question of one standard or another. It's even different systems and different understandings and all of that kind of stuff. So those things have had to be debated out in some considerable detail. Then on the question of when is the whistle going to blow, as I keep saying, we're not the ones that blow it, so we don't know when they're going to blow the whistle. And that's something that is a call of somebody else. And then on the question about yes, I did speak to a senior member of the embassy this morning, and I said I often do come to press conferences and say that I'm confident that we're making progress and that we're close to a conclusion. And I said that I'm not going to say this in this time unless I can say that both of us agree that this is the case. And that is the message I transmitted. Both of us agree that over the holiday period we have made considerable and significant progress, and that we are now in the end game of the process. And that's where we see ourselves, and that's what our mandate is from our leaders and everybody, is to conclude this negotiation, to come out with a successful outcome, which, as I said, on the one hand ensures that we continue to benefit from AGOA, on the other hand ensures that we do it in such a way that we are responsible as a government in terms of our agricultural industry and in terms of our human health. That's ultimately what it's about. So it's a matter that's ended up now no longer being, I mean, I've been the one who's been fronting this, if you like, but the issues are no longer trade matters. All I can say on that is that we do not play an SPS game as a protectionist measure. That I want to underscore. We have none of our officials, none of our veterinary officials, none of our health department officials have been given a nod and a wink to say, spin this one out, throw all kinds of obstacles in the way of this. They've not been given any such mandate. In fact, they've been told to seek a solution, find compromises between the two systems, find solutions, find answers. And it's not that we're doing what is very much the stuff of international trade these days, which is to play sanitary and phytosanitary matters as a way of keeping products out when there's no such ground. So I think that we haven't been doing that in this case. I want to give that absolute assurance.
Yes. Did I hear Linda from Business Day asking us why don't we lower standards? Yes, because if I did, that will be history making. It will
No,
go
if
down.
I could just clarify, are our standards unrealistically high in relation to what is required in the rest of the world? I mean, are our standards necessary for human health? Haven't we gone overboard? Thank you.
Yes, well, I said so. I said it's history making because ever since I became the minister, the questions we always, or complaints we get from the media are of lower standard rather than being asked to lower standards. They always want high standards at all times. Now, I wish to state that the sanitary and phytosanitary measures were long there in existence before AGOA. They've always been there, and they are universal. And international standards are being applied. We are not applying any new standards. I've read a lot in the press about somebody saying we are very unscientific. I'm still surprised, as I'm saying. The rules we use are applying internationally, and they are applied by many other countries, which we know. So the issue of lowering standards is a very, very loaded question. I don't think any minister can stand up in front of the public, or any government for that matter, and tell the citizens that I'm now lowering your standards. I think it's an insult,
Just to add on that, to say to Linda, our South Africa bases its animal health requirements on the World Organization for Animal Health and Codex. Is that one? Yeah, it should be. So we are not lowering or hiring. We are sticking to the standard that are set globally, on which the US is part of. So if any proof is new that we are either lowering or upping, that is unfounded according to my understanding of what has been at place. Since we're still negotiating, we would not be negotiating if we're coming up with things new. And I believe that our people, as Minister Davis have said, have been working very hard on holidays, trying to find, and I still believe that we will be able, as we have done in the number of other areas, be it pork, be it beef, be it avian influenza, we've been able to find each other. But in doing that, we'll be guided by what we should be basing our arguments on.
Colleagues, I saw hands here.
Ministers, it's Angelo Coppola again from CCTV. At what point do the senior executives in the ANC government get involved to try and resolve any potential backlog or the fact that some of these products will get excluded?
Manele Kenenza from Business Report. My question is principally for Minister Zogwana. Minister, could you give us an update of the drought situation, government's intervention therein, and also if this proverbial whistle blows, is South Africa's agricultural industry, what is the state of agriculture's industry's state of readiness to import? Do we have the capacity, or has that capacity been sort of eroded by the drought situation? Thank you.
Can we close this one?
Okay, go first.
Is there any question in Cape Town?
Yes, I think Linda wants a follow-up. Mike Morena, are you fine? Okay, just one more question.
Yes, Minister. Minister Davies, I think since November, every press conference we've held, you've said this is the end game. 11th hour, a few more technical issues to sort out. We're always on the verge of conclusion. What makes your statement today that we're on the verge of conclusion credible?
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. Thanks. On the first question on drought. Yes, as we have been saying, that drought has been with us, and we are doing all we could to make sure that we save livestock of smallholder farmers. We have made available 226 million rand so that we can be able to buy feed. We are still getting information to the fact that rain has not been coming so that people can be able to plant their own seeds. As to the impact thereof, we'll be informed by meetings that will take place. Yes, we may be compelled, for instance, on white maize and yellow maize. We are sure that if nothing happens, which I think is really now becoming worrying, is the fact that there's no rain. Then we may be compelled to import maize around May, June. But, of course, we are believing that everything is being done. The Department of Water Affairs has been running shows. We're working together to make sure that people must deal with water usage more prudently and make sure that we save water. But also, I think the capacity to build new sources of water, like drilling new boreholes where water is available, is what we are doing for the sake of maybe livestock, as well as the building of feedlots, because we can save some of the animals and make sure that the owners can sell them. But this is a game that I believe that we need to work very hard, all of us. But the challenge of fires, so that we're able to deal with fires, because once it becomes more dry and the heat and the climate is as is now, those are challenges we're faced with. But we're engaging with the farmers' organizations so that we're able to plant where we can and also do certain things to make sure that we make feed available where livestock is concerned. Linda,
okay, no, thank you. Let me just answer the 2 points, just to say that we have been keeping our principals informed of the evolution of this process, particularly over the last few weeks. We have been doing that on a consistent basis. Then on the question of my credibility, I said to you before that I did not want to come here to this press conference today and say that I believe that we're in the end game. I said that I wanted to be able to say, and I have this assurance that I can say this, that both the United States and ourselves believe that discernible and significant progress was made over the last few weeks on the outstanding issues. And it's on that basis that I say that we've got one outstanding issue, really. We've got one reaction to the proposal on the cattle that's not born and reared in the United States, the 90-day quarantine one. We've got to hear the reaction of the interlocutors to that proposal, and then we've got to finalize the salmonella issue. Those are the two outstanding issues, and it has constantly been our intention to try to get this process finalized as soon as possible. And that's what we've been trying to do to avoid any risk and uncertainty. Maybe we didn't achieve that, but then, as I say, what trade negotiation or trade-related negotiation actually has achieved that? So we continue to engage. We are continuing to talk, and we are continuing to talk in the spirit of both of us, both sides, trying to find a solution that will enable us to meet the undertakings that we made on the 3 meets, and that will enable us to continue to benefit from AGOA access.
Thank you, Minister. Is it a burning question? I want us to close.
Okay. As I said, that the commodities that have been identified that we may be compelled to import is maize, white and yellow. But our stocks will last us until end of April, May. We are ready to make sure that we're playing our game, make sure that we're clear of where we get that maize so that we don't run out of it. So as a department, we're working around those things. But beside that, we have set up a team that must monitor the changing of food prices, so that we're able to warn people so that if people are not getting exploited just because there's drought, any up in prices should be informed by scientific analysis. So all that is being done by the department through NAMAC.
Any question, colleagues? Going? Okay. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, ministers.
Thank you. Linda was one of those who was really coming to say we're not doing enough. Linda.
I know. That's always people in business. Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. I think I can't be here. We have a good question. As always.
Yes, and you are going to even after the press conference.
esifo sempuku siqinile leyo qala ye-influenza avian flu sayisayina sayiqeda inyama yengulube sivene nayo ngayo ukuthi ingeza la ekhaya okuqeqethile ebesayixoxa senanokuthi yile yesi sifo bathi yi-salmonella efumaneka embuthwini nakhona khona ingxoxo ubaba babekuthi basibonisana ukuthi ile sifo sembuthina bathini bona ukuthi namalanga sifanekiwe mhlawumbe kunceda khona ukuze sikelele apho sithi asiyesho kuphelele kodwa ke nyani ngekuhadi kodwa ke siyabonisa ukuthi mawukhona nomuntu oya ngoba unali yena anayo khona